Here are 5 of the worst books I read in 2025. Just because these are my worst does not mean that they will be your worst. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. In perpetuity. Number 1 on this list is Glitch. I had no business reading this book. I really didn't. I thought I was in like this romancy mood. I wanted some spice. This had a lot of spice, and that was basically the entire book. This book was basically just instant love through a computer screen and then in real life, and it's just, let's bang it out. A plot point came in at the end, but by that point I was already like out the door. I almost DNF'd this one, and I probably just should have. It seemed very unrealistic. If you read it, hopefully you can understand why it's unrealistic in very specific scenes. Next one is Captured by a Sinner. Don't mind me, but I was trying to do research for like mafia, mob kind of books, and I also saw a YouTube video promoting this book, and so I thought I'd give it a go. I don't know if this is like labeled as a dark romance, but it wasn't. It was far more romantic than dark romance, and it was one of those books where the main character just pissed me off so much. The MMC is actually really, really sweet despite being in the mafia, and the female main character just had all these issues with that. He gave her a place to live. He saved her from like other mafia people who would have killed her. I mean, he got her a puppy, and she still was like, no. Her decisions just aggravated me to the highest degree. There also wasn't enough action. If I'm reading like mafia or any kind of armed men kind of I want action. I want killing, I want fighting, I want high stakes, I want the thrill. And this book just was not that for me. I'm hating on romance a lot, so let's take a break and move on to Confessions. This was the only book that I actually physically had. I do not have it anymore. I thought that I was getting myself into like a really great psychological thriller. Like I can't even remember what it was advertised as, but people on TikTok were blowing up, and I just don't understand the hype. It was a very dry read, and there was like really just nothing going on. The only thing that kept me reading was because I was like, when's the comeuppance gonna happen? This one character in particular will reap what he sowed. He did in a way, but it was not thrilling. I think I could have saved myself the few days that I spent reading this book. But that's just me. Now back to romance, because I got beef with the genre. This one is a dark romance. It's The Reaper by Runix. I enjoyed The Predator. Was it a good book? No, it was not, but I enjoyed it. Again, looking into the mafia and mob kind of stories at the time. Yes, I was. The Reaper was the second book in the Darkverse series, and I stopped right here. I think in this one, the thrill was so far gone for me, and the relationship between like the two main characters was just, oh, it was so cringe. I was also expecting to read more of like what's happening with the whole mob thing. We didn't really get that. No, it was more focused on the romance part, but there wasn't really any romance happening. It was just miscommunication and no communication. It was lacking in a lot of areas for me, to say the least. And then finally, It's a Date Again by Geneva Rose. This actually wasn't like too bad of a read, but was not great. I had trouble with the premise of this very specific type of amnesia that the main character has to forget only a certain length of time and only certain people in her life. I don't know, it just seemed very strange for me, very fiction. And again, my beef with romance novels is that most of the time they're contemporary, meaning that it should make sense in reality. And if it doesn't, I have beef with it. Besides that, this book was cute. It was an easy, fun read. I just did not enjoy the fact that the main character could not realize who she was in love with this whole time. It was very painfully obvious who she actually was in love with, but yet she had to go on like several dates to figure it out. Not my cup of tea. Anywho, that was my worst reads of 2025. What were yours? Bye!